There's an interesting thing about the modern world. Most transactions today happen without us even noticing. You wake up in the morning, grab your phone, check notifications, scroll through your news feed, search for something that popped into your head, maybe open an online store, or reply to some messages. It's a completely normal routine, nothing special. But while you're simply starting your day, another process is happening in the background. Every click, search, video watched, and second spent adds new information to the digital profile that various platforms and providers are building about you. By evening, they don't just know which pages you visited. The system also sees which news caught your attention, which product you lingered on longer, what topics interest you, what problems concern you, and in some cases, even when you're most open to an offer or a decision. This might sound like an exaggeration at first, but in reality, it's one of the foundations of how the internet works today. For a long time, people said that if a service is free, then you are the product. However, this no longer accurately describes the situation. The reality is more that you are the raw material from which the product is made. The world's biggest tech companies don't just run software or online services. The real value for them lies in the information that allows them to understand human behavior more and more accurately. And this is where the story gets really interesting. The oil industry was the defining business of the last century because it provided energy. The data economy has become one of the biggest businesses of the present because it provides predictions. The more they know about you, the more accurately they can predict what you'll click on, what you'll buy, what content you'll consume, and what you'll react to emotionally. That's why your data has become the new currency. Not because it's especially valuable on its own, but because together it paints a picture of you from which a surprising amount can be inferred. And perhaps the most interesting thing is that most people participate in this system every single day without feeling like they're paying for anything. But you agreed, didn't you? At least, that's the argument these systems use to justify themselves. You accepted the terms of service. You clicked the accept button, so you knew what you were getting into. There's just one small problem with that argument. Have you ever read even one terms of service document? From the first letter to the last. The text that Facebook users should have read when signing up is about 20,000 words. The length of an average legal contract. It's full of legal jargon that requires years of legal study to fully understand. A research team calculated a few years ago, if an average internet user wanted to read all the terms of service they encounter daily, it would take them more than 77 days a year. Just for that. And then there are the cookie settings. Do you remember the last one you encountered? The Accept All button is usually green, large, prominent, and easy to reach. The Detailed Settings button is small, grey, hidden, and if you click it, a maze awaits, from which it's almost impossible to exit having truly accepted only what's necessary. This is not by chance. This is design. Consent doesn't mean understanding. Clicking doesn't mean a conscious decision. But why do we still sell it? Why does everyone do this? Who knows? Or at least suspects what's going on? Because it's convenient. Because convenience has no immediately visible price. The pain caused by losing our data is not acute. It's not like losing your wallet and immediately feeling the absence. This is a slow, invisible erosion of something much more abstract. Of self-determination. Of autonomy. Of the feeling that your own life is your own life. Then there's the other argument that almost everyone knows, and almost everyone has said at least once, I have nothing to hide. This argument seems logical, but it fundamentally misses the point. Because this isn't about secrecy. Think about it. We're not asking if there's something you're ashamed of or want to hide from the world. The question is much more fundamental. The question is, who has the right to decide what the world knows about you? You, or an unknown algorithm on a company's server farm that has never met you and never will? This isn't a question of whether you have something to hide. This is a question of whose decision it is. The really important question is perhaps not whether data is collected about you. Almost everyone knows that by now. The question is rather, what happens to this data once it enters this invisible system? Every search, click, and piece of content viewed adds another detail to the digital picture being built of you. This picture becomes more and more accurate over time. It shows more and more what interests you, what you pay attention to, what topics concern you, and in what situations you make certain decisions. There's nothing mystical or conspiratorial about this. No one is sitting in a dark room personally watching you. There's no secret plan and no single evil actor to point to. Business models are at work in the background, aiming to understand human behavior as accurately as possible. The difference is that these systems work with personal areas that previously belonged exclusively to you. Your interests, your uncertainties, your desires, your fears. Those patterns that are often not even conscious to you. If a platform recognizes what type of content keeps your attention the longest, it will naturally show you more of it. If an advertising system sees that you tend to make impulsive decisions at certain times, then offers are more likely to arrive at those times. If an algorithm senses that content that evokes strong emotions keeps you engaged longer, then this content will have an advantage in the competition for your attention. These processes are not neutral. The digital environment in which we spend a significant part of our daily lives constantly influences what we see, what we pay attention to, and what decisions we are guided towards. All of this is largely built from the information we leave behind about ourselves every day. This is where many people tend to think that the solution would be some kind of complete withdrawal. Delete social media. Give up smartphones, turn our backs on the entire digital world. But the reality is much more complex than that. The internet is no longer simply a technological tool. It has become a fundamental infrastructure of modern life. We work, communicate, handle our affairs, learn and get information through it. Complete withdrawal is not a real alternative for most people. However, there is something in which we still have freedom of choice, and that is awareness. When you understand how a system works, you no longer relate to it in the same way. Not all your habits necessarily change overnight, but you start to look at your decisions with different eyes. Sharing information consciously has a different meaning than unknowingly giving away data about yourself. Making a decision whose consequences you understand feels different from automatically clicking through a process without thinking about what's happening. Taking back control online rarely starts with one big decision. It's much more built up from a series of small decisions. From occasionally reviewing which apps have access to your data, from considering what permissions you grant, from being more conscious about what you share about yourself and what you keep to yourself. These steps may seem insignificant at first, but in the long run, they build the feeling that you are in control of technology and not the other way around. Because control is not really a technological question, it's much more a human question. It's about how much you can operate based on your own decisions in a world where there's constant competition for your attention and your data. Data still flows today, every second, invisibly, almost unnoticed. But the difference is whether you are aware of this process and whether you make the decisions about what you share about yourself. If you want to take one simple step to better protect your online privacy, using a VPN can be a good starting point. I personally use NordVPN because it's quick to set up, works in the background, and helps reduce the amount of information that can be collected about you based on your network traffic. If you're curious, you can find the link in the description. If you find topics related to online security, digital awareness, and data privacy interesting, it's worth subscribing to the channel. Most people spend hours online every day, while spending only a few minutes trying to understand how the system they use works. Yet sometimes a single realization is enough to look at the digital world with completely different eyes. Thank you for joining me. Next time you unlock your phone, open an app, or click on an ad, perhaps this video will come to mind for a moment. Because your data still represents value today, the only question is, who controls it? Take care of yourself, and also take care of what you share about yourself. See you in the next video.